Friday Live, and I am delighted this week to be joined by Mr. Tony Altham. Tony is not only a friend of mine, he's also the Executive Director for BNI, Business Networking International, leading the Staffordshire region of BNI within the UK. He's also the Business Networking Coach. He runs a promotional gifting company. He's also a family man. I mean, he's got so many hats, he must have perfect posture just to balance them all on his head. So Tony, welcome. Really good to have you with us. Do you want to just tell us in 60 to 90 seconds a little bit about yourself? Just talk a little bit about how it is you add value to your clients.
Yeah, with pleasure, and thanks very much for inviting me, Matthew. It's a real pleasure to be on here. Yes, I am fairly busy. Like a lot of people like you are probably not half as busy as you are these days. But I run a company called Ad Gifts Online with my wife, Steph, and that's a promotion merchandise company. I'm also co-executive director with Steph for BNI in Staffordshire, and I also do networking coaching for clients, which is something I've done and developed over a long period of time. For me, networking has become an essential part of everything we do every day. Steph used to hate it when I was getting up and going out early in the morning and disrupting her, and she couldn't understand why you go into BNI. And then she came out of working for BT, and she joined BNI, and she realized actually it's a really good thing to do. So, you know, getting out there and networking is really important for business. So the way I work is that I use networking as an essential part of our marketing tool, our marketing platform, and I want everybody that I work with to understand how to do it. There's a lot of people who come out of corporate life, and all of a sudden they haven't got the support network they used to have of the IT department and the HR department and all the other people they need. So through networking and being self-employed themselves or starting their own company, they can actually replace all of those people with really trusted, valued contacts. And that's the key. That's what I do and what I get a massive buzz out of.
Absolutely fantastic. You put it very succinctly, and you also just nailed it on the head as to why it was I joined BNI in the first place. Because, well, you just basically read my CV. Corporate background, got out of it, was basically honest Todd, and suddenly didn't have 2,500 people on speed dial anymore. Bit of a change. I get it. Absolutely. So let's talk about networking, because I think it's one of those words that's got a big, broad church. You know, it can cover an awful lot of different things. So what to you is good networking? And I suppose, without wanting to be negative about it, what would be bad networking or ineffective networking?
Good questions. Okay, good networking for me is somebody, you've got to start with the right mindset. That's the fundamental. When you start with an attitude that you want to help other people, you're already well on the way to being successful at networking. I have a little formula that I use. My wife hates this. Steph absolutely hates this. I call it SOS, TGR, and HF. Do the simple, obvious stuff that gets results and have fun. In other words, if you do all the simple things that work and they deliver results for you and you enjoy what you're doing, that's going to come across to everybody. So, you know, they'll pick up on that. On the flip side, the negative side of networking is, and I've done all of this, I hasten to add, everything I talk about, I've done it. All the mistakes, I've done it. It's people like dealers, sellers, collectors. When you go networking, first thing I did, I'd give them a business card to everybody I met. I don't know whether they want it. They don't know whether they want it. They got it. So from my point of view, I had a really successful time. And the other side I did was I thought I needed to sell. So coming away from the meeting, I'd be talking, but I wouldn't then be listening to them. So a good networker really listens. They listen, they understand, and they listen to respond and then to engage. So they understand how to connect people. And really, the two, they're that far apart. People really can learn to be great networkers, and very often it's the shy ones, actually, the quiet ones, who become the best networkers because they become very good at listening. So I encourage everybody to have a giving mindset. I put a post up the other day and said, if you want to earn more out of your networking, give more. Just give more. Give more, help more people, because they'll remember and they'll feel a desire to want to reciprocate and help you. I've slowed down my speaking because I know I was speaking really fast. So I hope that helped.
To be fair, Tony, I mean, you're talking about listening there. I mean, what can I say? We're probably matching and mirroring each other, because as everybody who knows me knows, I talk reasonably fast as well. So my fault. I probably set you off on that on that rate,
Yeah.
rapidity of speech. So apologies for that. My fault. I just set
Wonderful.
the pulse rate going a bit too quickly there. But sorry. I mean, what you've just said there, though, was really resonated, because you've got, Emerson's law of compensation, which is, the more that you give, the more that you get. We are a collaborative species by nature as human beings. And so actually we seek out ways in which we can work together. Even unconsciously, we recognize that if somebody has given us something, if they've helped us, it creates a really good feeling. And I love what you said about listening properly as well, because ultimately, you sell with your ears. You don't sell with your mouth. You actually buy with your mouth. And it's what people tell you. It's the old Stephen Covey thing, isn't it? Seek first to understand and then to be understood. Really powerful. So you mentioned dealers and collectors. Just paint me a picture. What's a dealer? That's an interesting word.
I'll share it in the context that I used to do it. I used to go out with a big box or pack of business cards, and I'd even carry them in my hand. And as soon as I met somebody, I'd give them a business card, because I thought that's what I needed to do. So for me, I was dealing out my cards. I had no idea whether people wanted them. I made sure they got them, and I went home or back to the office. I didn't have any cards left. I'm a great networker. Collectors, I also became, because then I would get cards from everybody I met, and I'd go back to the office with a big pile of cards, and I'd do what most people do, which is stick them in a pile, put a rubber band around them, and leave them on a shelf or in a drawer, and I'd forget to do something with them. You are far better to meet one person and follow up with that one person than go and get 50 business cards from people that you'll forget who they are, you won't remember, or you won't take action. So less is more. It's quality over quantity. So dealers and sellers are those two, and the sellers are the ones, sorry, you asked about collectors. Sellers are the ones who think they're going to get a deal. My guidance to everybody is become a go-to, become a connector. The connector is the person you think of first, and you're a connector. You'll have people who will come to you and they'll say, Matthew, who do you know who does? I'm looking for somebody who can help me with this. And chances are you'll be the first person they think of in your network, because you're their go-to contact. And I've thankfully come to know a lot of people over the years that I've been working in my previous career as an architect. So you just remember those people, and you think about, who do I know that they would be really useful for, and you put them together. So although you get dealers and sellers and collectors, the real one that you want to be is the connector, because you're a gatekeeper to opportunities. One of the best stories I can share on that is, very good friends of ours were opening their new offices, and the MD asked me if I could put him in touch with somebody at the local paper business section, because they wanted them to come out and write an article about them and take some photographs. I said, well, actually the best way to do it is that you write your article, you take your photograph, and then I put you in touch with them, because that way you make it easy for the press to put the information in as a chunk with very little input. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. They got a half-page spread. And then he said, I'm also looking for a musician, a cellist, to play at the back of the room. And I said, well, I don't sell cellists, but let me just speak to a few people. I'll put an email out to a couple hundred people in my contact network. And within half an hour, I got 3 people who'd recommended different cellists. And I got 3 who'd recommended a string quartet, because they'd all been at the same party at the weekend. And I was able to introduce him. So I went to the opening of their offices, and I was introduced as, oh, you must meet Tony. He's our go-to guy. He knows loads of people. He can help you. I'm thinking, I don't know everybody. I just luckily knew the people you wanted. So it does pay to put your effort into helping other people first.
100%, absolutely, could not agree more. I mean, there's no better way to build a community, is there? And ultimately, the strength of your own business, it can very often be measured by the strength of that community that you've built around yourself. It's a huge. Yeah. So
And I think when the chips are down, that's when you see the quality of the relationships you've got with people. And during this last 12 months, there's been a lot of people who've been really struggling and having hard times. And we know what it's like ourselves. But it's that strength of relationships that makes the big difference, because we've got people who have been fantastically supportive of us. And in turn, we've been able to do the same for them. And collectively, we're stronger. So we get through things together. So sorry I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, not at all. I mean, basically, I love that. Collectively, we're stronger. The whole is always greater than some of its parts. But I mean, what you were saying there about the fact that it has been a challenging 12 months actually speaks directly to what it was I wanted to ask you, which is some of the pictures you were painting there of some of the, you know, the good and the bad and the ugly of networking. And there's a lot of good, as we know, when it's done well. It is really sort of around the traditional view of networking as a face-to-face in-person event. Now, you and I are face-to-face right now, but we're not in person. There's, you know, a couple of chunks of glass and several miles between us right now. How has networking evolved over the course of the last 12, 13, 14 months?
It's funny, because I run, or I'm one of many who run different BNI sections or areas and regions. There were a lot of people who were very upset at first, and they said, yeah, I didn't sign up for this. I'm not keen on this online networking. It doesn't work for me. I like to be in the room with people. But I think a lot of people have now realized that online networking is, you know, doing Zoom, as most of us are doing now, certainly in BNI. You're still face to face, so you do pick up on the body language to a degree, and you've still got that opportunity. But they like the idea of being able to meet face to face in person, we call it, as well. And it's really important. There are two sides to the skills. You know, online, you need to think about it as if you were in a room with people, because in a room, you only see a few people at a time. Online, you see everybody who's on your screen, and you can see whether somebody's interested, not interested, whether they're on their phone, whether they're wearing their pajamas. And I've seen all of these, believe me. So it really is about, the etiquette is exactly the same, you know, whether you're online or in person. But it's really about pay attention, listen, ask great questions. I don't think there's a massive difference between the two for the most part, but I do think it's so important to follow up. You need to do a combination of the two. And once we're released from the restrictions we've had, it's going to be a great opportunity for people to find out how tall people are, for instance, because there's a lot of people who I haven't met in person. And I tell them I'm 6'2", but they're going to find out I'm 5'6". 7. Let's go for 7. But the key is, you know, just to be respectful and enjoy it. I don't think that, to me, there's not massive differences. It's convenient to do online. It's very quick. You can jump onto different meetings very quickly without the traveling. It's cheaper. It's very efficient in terms of time. But I think there's still a massive place for, you know, actually sitting down, having a chat with somebody, and shaking hands or throats.
Absolutely. And, you know, all of those, you know, those physical elements that we've missed and that we crave. You know, I must admit, it was my chapter meeting this morning, and when we were talking this morning, you know, almost longingly for the time that we actually get to go out and have a meal, and just get to see each other socially again. So yeah, no, there's such a lot there, and it is about those relationships. I'm just going to go to the chat because I can see there's a bunch of things that are appearing in the chat. So I'm going to put on my eyes here so I can actually read the darn thing. So there's a few people here. Yeah, great, good to see some people here. Adrian Hyde, hi Adrian. Tracy, lovely to see you here. Andy Hollins is here, and Bruce and Kerry. Yeah, great stuff. Roger says you need to use your ears. Absolutely, totally agree with that, Roger. Adrian says, I must go through that huge bundle of cards that I've got. Absolutely. There we are. There we are. Sally Smith, hi Sally. She says, I don't miss business cards at all. Now that's an interesting thing, actually. In this digital world, what sorts of things can we do to maybe replace that kind of passing of the business card, that almost old-fashioned ritual element of these things? What can we do?
And actually, when we go back to that, if you are in a situation where you're passing business cards, there's a little bit of etiquette that I'd share with you, and that is that something I do, I never pass my business card unless I've asked the other person first for permission to do it. And I'll ask for their card first. I'll always say, Matthew, it's been lovely talking to you today. Have you got a business card? And then once I've received that, I hold on to it. I don't put it in my pocket. You'll see a lot of people will take the card, they'll shove it in a pocket, they wouldn't even look at it. Well, actually, that's just saying to the other person, you don't really value, you're not valuing me. You've just asked for it out of habit. But in reality, what you do by looking at it is you're helping yourself to remember that person. And another good tip is with business cards. Some people hate this, but you need to have something memorable about your card. So put a photograph on there. I always advocate doing that. Some people have cartoons. You've got to have something that helps people to remember it. Coming back to online, when we're talking, we usually have a background behind us. I've got a green screen behind me at the moment, but typically on a BNI meeting, I'll have a virtual background. That's an opportunity to market your business. You can put your logo up there. You can put your QR code from LinkedIn. You can put your phone numbers. You don't need to have lots and lots of detail. For instance, if you're on LinkedIn, just having your QR code, people can scan it and they can connect with you straight away. And then from there, they'll pick up all the other details that they need for you. It's a bit like when people have name badges. If you put your business card into a name badge, you wear it on your right-hand side as well, because it comes forward when you're talking to people. It's too difficult to read. You're looking close. You just need to know your first name. You don't even need to have your company name or what you do, because that's the stuff that will come out in conversation. So for me, I'd say the opportunities are get on to even now, make sure you're using the right information. Use the background as an opportunity. Use your emails as well. Your email signature is a great way to share contacts and to attract people in. You can use it as an advertisement. Use testimonials. Testimonials are one of the best, absolutely the best things that you can do online, is to write a testimonial for somebody else. Put it on your letterhead, because they will then almost certainly they'll share it online, and then other people they know will like it, comment on it, share it. Everybody who sees it will see that I've just done a testimonial for Matthew, and I've also, in that testimonial, I've highlighted all the things that I like about his business, but it's actually what we do as well. So I'm reinforcing my company by promoting Matthew's, and that's that's a tip. So
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. There's a couple of things I'd love to pick up on there, if I may. The first one is I'll work backwards through what you just said. The testimonials piece, absolutely. It's where you've taken time to give something to somebody else. So again, you're giving, but there is a little bit of built-in reciprocity there. I remember a brilliant example of this. Caris Roberts from Swan Physio, very successful physiotherapy, multiskeletal, I can never ever say it, but does all the stuff, and looks after all the bits of your body. But multidisciplinary, that's the clinic, that's the one. And within the sort of first paragraph of whatever she writes in her testimonial, it's always got, we value accuracy, doing what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, doing things at the price you say you're going to do them, real dedication, attention to detail, great service, all those things that we value, because that's what we do. We certainly value this and this person. So it's basically the first paragraph. It's almost like a little advert for yourself, isn't it? It's brilliant. So I love that.
Honestly, it is such an underutilized opportunity. In BNI, we encourage everybody to do testimonials, but it's the ones who really understand the value of a testimonial is that it's a joint thing. And when you do something for somebody else, they're going to reciprocate, but you're promoting both of the businesses. And other people will comment and say great things about you. Avoid doing just a generic, your customer service was wonderful and I really liked the way you did this. Make it specific. Talk about the actual things, the values, but also what have you achieved as a result of it. So if your sales have gone from, they're 35% higher, or you converted 23 more customers, or you found it easier to convert people to customers, say it. Talk about the actual specific things that you've received, because that's what people are really interested in.
I'd love to share a tip on that, if I may. There's actually a lovely acronym which you probably know really well. In fact, you probably taught me it. It's SPAR, SPAR, which is situation, problem, action, result. And it's a really neat little formula for telling a story in a very short space of time. So talk about the situation you were in when you first met this person who's done this great work for you. Talk about the problem that you were facing that they helped you with. What action did they take and what was the end result? If you can tell that in a pithy, to the point little story, then you really capture people's imaginations, because stories will always sell where facts only tell. And that's a really powerful thing to do.
Absolutely agree with that. It really is a case of less is more in many cases. If you're too wordy, it's like weekly presentations. People talk about doing a 60 seconds. Actually, in a lot of our BNI meetings now, we've reduced that to 30. And the reason, some people complain and say, it's not enough, I need more time. Actually, what you find is people are more specific, so they are far more effective by speaking less, because they realize that your weekly presentation is just a call to action. This is the help I would really love from all of you this week, and then we do the contribution section. But if you make it easy for people to help you, they're more likely to help you. So those are things that I encourage everyone to do. Less is more. You don't need to talk for 60 seconds because you've got it. If you can get your message out succinctly in 30 seconds and the meeting moves on quickly at pace, it's far more energized, it's more fun. Practice.
I know one of our members made a point the other week when they were providing a little bit of an education moment on exactly that subject, and they were saying, look, it's better that you speak for 45 seconds and everybody remembers you than you overrun and everybody wants you to shut up. Because far better they're actually thinking well of you. And you've got one-to-one face-to-face meetings in person or on Zoom in order to be able to get to know, like, and trust somebody better, so you can actually get the wider breadth of what they do. I mean, look, it would be a strange business where you could really squeeze it all into even 60 seconds, let alone 45 or 30. So just give them what they need today. I think that's great. There's one other thing I wanted to pick up on it that you mentioned before about the LinkedIn QR codes. I'm conscious that not everybody potentially even knows where to find those. So I thought it might be helpful.
Oh, right, okay.
So you can play along at home here. If you get out your mobile phones and have a look on your LinkedIn application, in the search field at the top, you will find there's a little square just off to the right-hand side of that search field. If you tap on that, it'll open up a camera. In fact, if it's the first time you're opening it, it'll say something like allow camera to access, or allow LinkedIn to access camera. That would make more sense. And the little question mark, allow it, and that'll open up like a QR reader. The other bit there, you'll see it says my code. Tap my code and you'll find you've got your own QR code that is unique to your presentation and unique to who you are. So basically, if you want people to go to your profile, stick that on your backdrop, let people be able to scan it. They can scan it through the screen, very easy. They'll go straight to your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant tip, really is. It makes life so much easier. And yes, we all want to get more connections on LinkedIn, and we want people to be able to find us. But I think I was going to say modern networking. With networking now, it's far more streamlined. I think there's a lot of people doing more with less. So having the QR code is as good as having a business card in many ways. You don't need to have lots of detail. You just need to have something that's going to attract people in and be rememberable. I always say in networking, you need to be not just memorable, you need to be rememberable. What I mean by that is if an opportunity comes up, you want people to think of you first. So there's got to be some hook that takes them directly to you, rather than, oh, you're in my memory. I might remember you, I might not. But if you're the first person, and the best example I can give, years ago, I went on holiday to Italy. I met a guy called Chris Price. Everyone calls me Asda, and he's a financial advisor. And I always think of Chris Price, Asda. I've never met him since. It's probably 10 years ago. But you've just got to think, how can I be the first person that somebody else thinks of?
Absolutely.
All the right reasons, of course.
Yes, definitely. Those little sort of memory cues, those little recollection books, they can be very, very useful. Absolutely fantastic. I think we can think of a few of those that we know in our own network, can't we? So
yeah.
So
believe me, I've done everything wrong, so I know all the things that don't work. I can tell you, I can keep you here all day if you want, tell you all the things that don't work. But I'd rather share the things that do.
Undoubtedly done a few of those things, if not all of them myself as well. So I'm just looking down the chat again. We've got a few more comments here. Bruce says that he completely agrees about the benefits of testimonials. Should be of benefit as much to your company and to the company you are providing testimonial for. Completely agree with that, Bruce. Thank you. Peter Harris here has just said, move to 30 seconds in BNI Network, and it's really helping move the meeting along and get quality from our presentations. Couldn't agree more, Peter. I mean, I've been privileged to attend your meetings in support of you and the team, and you know, the meetings are really pacey now, and the energy in the meetings is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, couldn't agree more.
It's you hear far less snoring. So I'm joking. But it is far better when people feel energized. That it just comes across. Yeah, they're enthusiastic, they're motivated. It's like if somebody says, "Oh, how are you doing?" "Oh, not too bad." Okay. I think, "Oh God, what's bad? What's bad? There must be something bad. What is it? It might be small, but what's bad?" Whereas if it's, "Oh, I'm great, thanks. How are you?"
Yeah,
it's different. Yeah, you don't have to say, "Oh, I'm absolutely fine and dandy and brilliant," but I'm just great. I'm positive. I'm really looking forward to the day or whatever it is. It has a different impact. People, I say, be the light, not the moth. And what I mean by that is I've never seen a light bulb chase a moth, but I've seen lots of moths around light bulbs. So attract people to you just by being energized, being enthusiastic, being a connector, that sort of thing. So sorry.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm just not nodding in violent agreement because
I think you can tell I'm fairly enthusiastic about this sort of stuff.
Well, we both are, which is always the danger when you get two people like us talking about these things, because it can very easily go on more than half an hour, and we are bizarrely actually coming quite close towards the end of it. But I did just want
to go quickly. You did.
I did, didn't I? Yeah. But I did just want to pick up on one thing you just said there about the energy that you project, because the world will reflect what you project, and without ever pretending to be something you're not, because guess what, the world will pick up on that as well, because we can smell somebody who's not telling the truth about a million miles away, right? We've all got the old forgive the phrase, but bullshit radar. We know when somebody's not telling the truth, but at the same time, if you are sort of projecting something that's positive, natural, and genuine as well. Obviously, it's got to be authentic. That really does attract the right things to you, and it puts me in mind of the fact that the emotional truth of whatever somebody is saying doesn't come through from what they're saying. Only 7% of that really comes through from the words they say. 38% of it comes from their tone of voice. 55% of it comes from their body language. So a huge amount of what comes across is all about body language and tone. It's like, if you think about it, when somebody's miserable before they even open their mouths, don't you? You do. It's just everything about their set of their body and everything. So yeah. What you project is what you reflect. So important. Tony, I can't believe it, but we really are coming up to the top of our half hour together. Tell me, how can people get in touch with you? How would you like them to make contact? What's the best way to reach you?
The absolute best way to get hold of me is via LinkedIn. You can find me very easily on LinkedIn. I haven't seen anybody else called Tony Altham. So that's it's either a good sign or a bad sign. Nobody wants a name. But the other side is you're welcome to contact me through BNI Staffordshire or via my email, tony@bnistaffordshire.co.uk, or even, dare I say it, my mobile, which is 07711 889 753. I'll say it again, 07711 889 753. I get a buzz out of helping people. And two very good friends of mine gave me some tips many years ago. And one of them is this: be the difference that makes the difference. And I live by that every day. If I can do something to help somebody, I will do. I don't know. Doesn't matter whether I know you or not. If I can do something to help you, if you ask for help, somebody gets a buzz. So I'm being selfish. I'm helping myself by helping you. So don't worry about that side. But yeah, anything like that. If I can do anything to help, I will do.
Absolutely. And great words to live by, great philosophy. And I have to say, Tony, you and I share that philosophy 100%. So yeah, yes, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, my name is Matthew Hughes. Don't worry, as I always say, you do not need to write out that entire long name. There's 20 letters in that name, which is frankly greedy. So yeah, just my initials, mdh@sandler.com. You'll get hold of me. My mobile is 07715269724. And that is it for another Friday Live. Tony, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see everybody next week for another Friday Live. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.